This is Sebastian for the Metal Gods Meltdown, and I'm joined by...
Hi, this is George Lynch from Dokken, Lynch Mob, and a whole bunch of other bands.
It's awesome to speak to you. I'd like to congratulate you on the new album, Rebel. What were the high points of making the album, and how does the finished article compare with your initial intentions?
We always try to go into writing a record with a completely open slate and open mind. It was the high point on every record is when you start getting into mixed territory, where you've gotten over the initial excitement of writing something and creating something out of nothing, and watch it sort of evolve into this finished piece of work, and then get it recorded properly, and then get it all finished up, and then start mixing it where it all comes together. That's really the most exciting part of the process.
Personally, I love the opening track, Automatic Fix. Has an nostalgic 80s feel to it. Would you say that's a fair statement?
I don't know anymore. I'm having a hard time kind of figuring out what genre or era to place things in anymore. It's such a mishmash at this point. I have to kind of look back and go, well, is that 70s? Is it what era? Is that early 70s? Is that mid 70s? That influence? And then there'll be another part of the song that's something else. Okay, now is that sort of like late 80s, or is that 90s, or is that 2000s? I mean, I don't know. It all comes from the same place. It's just kind of this linear, line that's connected from, mid 60s all the way up to now, different musical events and bands and influences. I don't know. I really honestly, it's not like we're in a laboratory and we sit around and think about this stuff, it just sort of happens. It's all in our heads, and it's been there for a while, and we just kind of put pieces together that have been, a mixture of our different influences. That's all I can say. We're not really overtly, consciously trying to create something that you can define. There wasn't a master plan. It's just the result of the combination of the band members and their personal chemistry and interaction with those chemicals.
Is it a bit of a nightmare choosing set lists then with your massive back catalogue?
Well, it's not a nightmare. It's actually, because we have a lot of material we can pull from, we have a lot of options. I would call it frustrating, because we have so many options. We would really like to exercise more of them, and we're constrained by set times and amount of songs that we can really learn. It's a relatively new incarnation of the band, and we have Sean McNabb on bass and Jimmy DeAnd on drums. Obviously, Oni and myself. Sean and Jimmy were in the band previously, and I played with Jimmy on other projects, and we're all friends, and it's a great version of the band. We're very capable. The thing is, we could, if we would shed it, we could probably, there's literally hundreds of songs we could probably learn, from everything from early Dokken up through, and then some cover tunes and our jams that we do and stuff. So we're slowly adding songs to our repertoire, but, we just played, for instance, I got home last night, we played the Wisconsin State Fair. We played a total of 35 minutes. How many songs can a band do in 30 minutes?
Exactly.
We had 5 songs on our set list, and we were able to, because we cut the time between our songs, with the banter and talking to the audience, kept that to a minimum, we're able to fit in a short 6 songs. That's tough. It's like no Mr. Scary, no long jams, no improvisation, no blues, no talking to the audience, none of the new stuff, very frustrating. And we do about a third of our set is Dokken. Right there, we try to load it 2/3 Lynch Mob, 1/3 Dokken.
Lynch Mob had a few vocalists over the years. Would you say the original singer and current singer, Oni, encapsulates everything you wanted and always wanted Lynch Mob's sound and ethos to be?
Yeah, I think that, really the majority of the chemistry and the sound is the combination of Oni and myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's the classic singer, guitar player, partnership. That's undeniable. But, without Oni, and it just is not really even worth calling Lynch Mob, because he's the voice of the band. And the writing, you could have a great singer, but that doesn't really mean much. It's really stylistically what Oni does is so unique, and that just does not include the sound of his voice, which, his melodies and so forth. But a lot of it is, just his writing. I mean, that's the huge thing. He's such a unique writer, and he's so poetic in his lyric writing too, and there's a very personal, unique way of writing lyrics that he's one of the great ones.
Final track on the album, War, that's sort of quite in depth and hits home. It's good. It's amazing.
Yeah, he surprised me with some of the lyrics, which are kind of socially conscious lyrics, talking about, sort of getting into the political realm and talking about social and economic justice issues, which I'm very, very happy with. Obviously we talk, and he knows that I'm, care about those things quite deeply, but and I address those things in context of some of my other projects like Shadow Train. But Lynch Mob has normally been about that sort of thing, and unless the singer genuinely has empathy with that subject matter, it would be disingenuous to sing about it. So it's really, I've left it up to him what he wants to write about it, although I suggested things. But he really surprised me. Maybe about four of these songs, he really talks about things that matter. Dirty Money. I mean, it's about the banksters on Wall Street and collapse of an unfair and unjust economic system. That's wonderful. I'm glad he spoke to that issue, and in a way that's very entertaining. He's not being preachy. And that's for myself. I'm not. I try to be a lyricist, but because I feel compelled to write about things I care about, but I don't have the gift. I'm not a poet, and when Oni does it, it's very natural for him to do, and he writes it in a way that's very colorful and digestible and cool, laying out the facts and whining about something. When Neil Young does it, Neil Young just tells it like it is, and it's cool because he's Neil Young. So I don't know, it's just I'm not sure what it takes, that magical ingredient that guys like Oni have, but thank God they have it.
Okay, I'm going to ask you about Dokken, of course. When Dokken first broke onto the scene back in '78, you were a youngster. Did you ever think the band and yourself would still be as famous and well-renowned all these years later?
Well, of course not. In those years, I didn't, maybe early '70s, I didn't even think that the concept of playing music in any way outside of just playing just for the joy of playing wasn't even anything that was like within the realm of possibility. I wouldn't even have considered it. So to end up being a band that was actually recognized around the world and sold millions of records, I mean, that's insane. It was really all just a happy accident. I mean, it was just a happy accident built on years and years of hard work. Of course, but still, very, very fortunate.
What does the rest of 2015 hold out for yourself and Lynch Mob?
Well, we've been touring pretty heavily. May continue touring. We're definitely touring up to the end of September, and then we're trying to suss out our fall. And we will either continue to tour for another 2 months through November, or take a month off and work on another new record. Which is going to be very interesting. We're going to go analog. We're going to kind of go into hiding in a very remote studio and woodshed. And the idea, I think, is to kind of go back to more of our blues roots, but with a twist, a real serious twist. And we're not sure we can pull it off, but I don't know. We've got big ideas. Let's put it that way. Whether we can actually pull it off is another question. possibly some recording. I'm presently working on just finishing up, actually, a project called The Infidels, which is completely off the page. I mean, it's not anything I could even describe, really. Pretty hard to describe anyway. It's got ska elements, like a little bit like Mr. Bungle meets Stoner Rock meets James Brown. I don't know. A whole bunch of stuff in there. But it's the singer from Fishbone, Angela Moore, myself, Pancho Tomaselli from the band Tower Power, the bass player from Tower Power, Sal Rodriguez, drummer from War, and Chris Moore. And it's an insane album. It's called Dark Circus, and it's very difficult to describe, but it's not anything even in the same universe as anything I've done before.
Sounds interesting.
It's so exciting for me. It's a phenomenal record. I'm losing my mind over it. And people that are kind of, know who I am that bought my records are going to be maybe pissed off, maybe taken aback, maybe just laugh it off. I'm not sure, but hopefully not. And maybe give it a chance. And it definitely bears repeated listening.
It sounds awesome.
It was done at this sort of boutique studio that caters to like soul and funk and R&B artists in the Southern California area that want to record the way those artists used to record in the late '60s and early to mid '70s. It's like like recording an Isley Brothers record or I don't know, Santana record or something. It's all the tape, all the mics, all the equipment is all that from that era. And the people that run the studio, the producers, the engineers, they live in that world. They take it very seriously. And so we used to, that kind of equipment. I didn't go in there with my big rock equipment. I played through two very small Fender amps and a Telecaster guitar, and we got theremin, we got saxophones, we got an old Rogers drum kit, an old bass rig, and we all played at the same time. There was no overdubs. It's phenomenal record. It's got punk elements and rock, and it's all over the map. Angelo is a bona fide genius and a Renaissance man. That's all I can say. It just blew my mind.
Do you know what label that's going to be released on?
It's going to be on Rat Pack, which is quite interesting because Rat Pack doesn't cater to that style of music generally, but we'll see what happens with that. And it'll come out this year. Definitely different.
Okay, just going back to Rebel briefly, can you tell me why we should buy Rebel?
Well, the way I look at it is, in a world of 7 billion people, there's got to be at least 1 million that like the same kind of music I like. I mean, I can't just be an island in the sea of music appreciators. I'm sure there's people that have affinity for the same kind of music that people like myself love. And that's, what that is that our special, certain unique brand of hard rock, tinged with blues, tinged with other things, with influences from Zeppelin to Hendrix to newer influences, so it cuts a kind of a wide swath, and I think there's got to be a good number of people that would love the music that we create if they were just aware of it. Mm-hmm.
That's the hardest thing.
That's our biggest challenge, is to make more people aware of what we're making here. And I think they would love it. They just don't know that it's there. That's why I'm doing an interview with you.
Absolutely. Okay, then here's one for you then. What would you like to be remembered for in 100 years' time?
Well, I'd like to be known as a person that did the right thing for the right reasons and used my music to maybe make a slight, small difference in the world, maybe a slightly better place in some small way.
Can you give me 4 words to describe George Lynch?
Eccentric, workaholic, family man, dedicated. Dedicated is the word. Dedicated. Last time I said I don't quit.
Thanks ever so much for your time. Do you have any final words for our listeners and your fans?
Well, I just would like to thank people for remaining loyal and continuing to listen, along this long, strange journey, and I feel an obligation to not disappoint them. So I hopefully I haven't.
Thanks ever so much. Hopefully we might get to see you in Europe soon. You never know, hey?
I hope so. Okay, thanks for a great interview. I appreciate it. Hi, this is George Lynch from Lynch Mob, and you're listening to the Metal Gods Meltdown.
Hear the soul in the heart of our music. Hear the song that lives